Welcome back to the Lords of Lore podcast. We are doing our flagship show. I'm Matt.
I'm Luca.
And I'm Cam.
Hello, Cam. Welcome to the main show, the podcast for all things fantasy and sci-fi nerddom. Hey, you're the first person. You have the most guest appearances on the channel.
Heck
Obviously,
yeah.
well, I guess not just sheerly in number, but on number of shows. Because you're a reoccurring guest, obviously, on the D&D show we do, the role-playing game show we do, Adventures, which people can check out once a month. But also, you're on an episode on the Bash talking about Gravity Falls, and now you are here on the main show.
It's an honor to be here.
We're sure, yeah.
Well, yeah, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, Will could not be here for some unforeseen circumstances. So, hearts go out to Will for the things he has to deal with during his absence, but he will be back as soon as can be. But what a replacement we have in Cam. So thanks for joining. Today, we are talking about Star Wars Visions, the new series, the anime series on Disney+. And we'll be doing a spoiler-free as well as a deep dive breakdown into each individual episode that's been released thus far. But before we get into that, remember, this coming Friday, we do have an episode of Unabashed with Ethan Snowden, another friend of the show. We're talking about Pokemon. So if you're interested in Ethan or Pokemon or this show, check that out. Last week, Luke and I did a book review for The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, where we did spoiler full and free dives into what we love about that property, which I have questions about pertaining to Star Wars, Luca.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe I'll save that for Matt's meandrous mumblings.
Cool.
But I'll wait till people get a chance to see both this and that, and then I have a bone to pick with you.
Cool.
Not really, but
Let's do it.
okay. Cool. So without any further ado, let's get into our review of Star Wars Vision. So again, this is a 9-part anime series on Disney Plus, headed by 7 different anime studios. And that's as much as I know about the behind the scenes. Yeah. In years previous, I probably would have known everything about it, who wrote it and all that. But my love of Star Wars dwindled a little bit with the sequel trilogy.
Not
and
surprising.
fair enough. So yeah, I went into this with a very broad understanding of what it would be. How did you guys go into it? Cam, we'll go with you first.
I had heard that it was going to be like an anthology series, kind of like a Black Mirror or a Love, Death, and Robots. And yeah, like I heard that Studio Trigger was behind it, and I'm a big fan of like stuff that they've done. So I was very excited for it. When that first trailer dropped, I was like, okay, this is dope. Like seeing all the different art styles and everything. Like, yeah, so I was pretty hyped behind it. I call myself a casual Star Wars fan.
Get lost, loser.
No. But yeah, because actually I had only seen the original trilogy in university, so like 4 years ago, something like that. That was the first time I watched the original trilogy. And I grew up with the prequels, and I was like, these are fun. And then I watched the original trilogy, and now I understand.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And the sequel trilogy, I can take or leave. I'm going to get crucified for this, but I liked The Last Jedi, you know.
I mean, I've said it anytime it comes up. There's parts I absolutely adore about The Last Jedi. There's just big chunks of it that I'm like, the fuck are we doing here? The horse things.
I don't know the names. Oh, number 8.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Luca, your thoughts going into Star Wars Visions?
I was super excited. The trailer made me extremely excited. I love anime. I like Star Wars. Matt, you know my opinion on the sequel trilogy. It is trash. I hate it. There's no good movie in it. It is garbage. I feel I'm coming for you Star Wars fans.
Damn, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have that much distaste for it or dislike. I love it as a whole, but
to me,
there's things I can't get excited about it.
Star Wars 7, 8, 9 is the equivalent of Game of Thrones season 7 and 8. Like just irredeemable trash. Like just that's how I feel about them both.
Oh no, I think this is good. I think I came at it from a perspective of a lifelong, very not casual, very ultra passionate fan, as Mark Hamill would say, who had sort of fallen out of love with Star Wars coming into this. Okay, I'm very casual, but you love anime and some of the people involved. And Luca, you have a very sour taste of Star Wars in your mouth.
I do.
But you're willing to give anime a chance, which I think is very fair. Yeah, and another aspect, sort of why I was intrigued by this, is that there's never been a Star Wars animated show for me that's missed because I didn't watch Resistance. I've only seen Clone Wars and Rebels, and those are both excellent shows. I hear Resistance is not, but I only saw the first season, so I can't speak to that. And as well as the episodic Star Wars in that Mandalorian, super well done as well. Love that show. So that I was sort of like hoping for something more along those lines. But yeah, so avoiding spoilers, my thoughts watching the show, I was very excited and I was very satisfied with how it turned out. To me, though, it sort of felt as if like Star Wars or Lucasfilm went out to a bunch of anime studios and they were like, show us why we should go with your vision of Star Wars. And they were all like, sure, yeah, here it goes. And then they made that into a series. Whereas I maybe would have preferred like you just gone to one studio and been like, yeah, like go for it. Because there's a lot of the stories, like a lot of the episodes in this series that I'm like, I want more. Give me more. Like, and a lot of them end on cliffhangers. So I wonder if there will be a second season with the same people involved. But then it's like waiting, years to get the next episode of one thing is sort of like, oh God. So it didn't feel like an anthology in that way where it was like, here's a short story and it wraps up at the end. It was very much like, wouldn't this be sweet? And then like think about that for a few years. Like, fuck.
Definitely.
You're right. There is like a few of the episodes did end like that, where it's like you want a sequel. And honestly, I think if they do a season 2, it'll probably come up pretty quickly because I mean, there's no like Disney owns this. They can make this whenever they want, like, and they have the money. So I think a season 2 will be coming quickly because this seems to be doing pretty well. Let's see. 91 on Rotten Tomato. Oh wait,
wow.
That's not it. My bad.
Oh.
Star Wars Vision.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of felt like it was a bunch of pilot episodes, kind of thrown into it, like seeing if it would get like picked up by the studio. There were some good, like solid endings, which we'll get into in the like spoiler area. But like, yeah, I agree. One gripe that I did have with some of it is a lot of it kind of started getting like a little repetitive after a little while, and maybe it was because like I binged the series, so like that's kind of why. But like they were like, here's this plot point and here it is again in like this other thing, but like it's kind of twisted around a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I don't know if it was necessarily a gripe or if it was just like I didn't care for the motifs that they were using, Yeah,
and I think especially with Star Wars, there's a lot of things that get considered as motifs, and they're really surface level. And so I think if you are one of these studios and you're trying to make an anime that appeals to the widest amount of Star Wars fans, then you might stick with one of those sort of surface level concepts. So I think the episodes for me that were not that were the ones that really stuck out. There were ones that were like completely zany in the way that Star Wars always is. And I was like, I've had enough of this. Like,
really?
I was like, give me more of this sort of the low key, because I think obviously the roots of Star Wars coming from samurai films, specifically like Kurosawa films, and then obviously like westerns being based off of Kurosawa films. So Star Wars being this like amalgamation that's just inspired by westerns and samurai films. So like something like The Mandalorian feels like a western, but when we get something like I don't know, The Duel, and I'll try to avoid spoilers here, that very much feels like a samurai film.
Oh, yeah.
And the differences are subtle. Obviously to like an American audience, we'd be able to pick out on them a little bit more clearly than people who are not inundated with those types of films. But I think I was more into like the samurai vibes opposed to like the epic sweeping, which the Star Wars movies, like the saga has always been this epic sweeping tale. And I was more interested in these like, here's a story about one person, you know?
Yeah.
Those ones felt to me like some of my notes, which we'll get into, was just like all caps, this is Star Wars. But yeah. So without spoilers, did you guys have a favorite episode or the one that felt most like what you imagined when you think of anime meets Star Wars?
For me, my favorite episode was The Duel, hence my background. But what I thought of Star Wars meets anime, that's a good question. For that, honestly, that might be T0B1.
Oh, yes.
I think that might be like the truest sort of like clash of the worlds.
Oh, wow. Okay,
to
cool.
me. Or maybe, no, I think that's the one. Ninth Jedi, maybe, but
yeah.
T0B1 had those like anime vibes, like the very, very hardcore, like true to anime vibes, plus the Star Wars story.
Yeah.
What about you, Cam?
I would probably say either, the Ninth Jedi or Lop and Ocho a little bit. That one, I really just like the like character of Lop, and like it felt very like, here's this cool Star Wars character creature kind of thing. And like I think that's why I like that one the most. And then just the like whole family dynamic. Yeah, I think I like that one.
Yeah. My answer was the same. Lop and Ocho was definitely what I envisioned. And I remember the trailer being like, that's the one I want. Like, I think they show a scene in the trailer with Lop and Ocho running down the staircase, which is a brief moment in the episode. But that I was like, ooh, show me that. Cause it was very like the animation style is very similar to that of like Studio Ghibli. And I was like, yeah, that meets Star Wars. That's what I want to see. Thematically though, I would say The Village Bride was by far, to me, that's the one where I wrote, this is Star Wars. That was like, that was the one I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. But yeah. I guess we can just score it now and then we'll move into our spoiler heavy review. So again, we'll start with you there, Cam. If you had to give this whole series out of 10, what would you rank it?
Whole series out of 10? I would give it, I'll say 8. Like a good like 80% passing grade. Yeah, there was like a lot of stuff that like got me hyped, but then there was also some stuff where I was like, okay, this is cool. This is anime. Yeah.
What about you, Luca?
Yeah, I'd agree with an 8 out of 10. There's not many episodes. Actually, there's only like 2 episodes that I was like, I didn't really like this.
Ooh, I'm curious to see if we have the same ones, because I was telling Cam a little bit before. There's one episode that I like couldn't stand, but that doesn't mean I thought it was bad. I was just like, this one's not for me at all.
I agree.
So I'm curious to see which that one was for you. And I agree. I would also score it with an 8. There was moments of brilliance, but then also like Luke was saying, some things I was like, come on. But such as Star Wars, there's always going to be that, did we need that? But we got it. So there's nothing we can do about it now. That's our spoiler-free review. If you are tapping out here, make sure you're following the Lords of Lore on all social media. and checking out the main show we do every Tuesday, as well as the interviews, book reviews, and RPG games we play every Friday. So yeah, check that out. Thanks for watching.